What is up, guys, and welcome back to Walnut Street Podcast. This podcast is all about normal people sharing extraordinary stories. This is episode number 3. I'm Tyler, your host, and today we have a very special guest for you, Ben Iltz. Be sure to watch all the way through today's episode. You don't want to miss a thing. Sit back and relax and enjoy this episode. You can laugh, Ben. It's all right. I've tried. Yes. There it is. Our guest today, some may know him as Timmy Tommy, the trail traveler, but I have the privilege of knowing him as friend. Ben, what is up, man? Man, it's so good to have you on the podcast today.
Hey, glad to be here.
Man, it's so exciting to have you on the show. Thanks so much for just taking some time out of your day to spend just maybe a few moments with us today, man. Share some of your story.
Yeah. This podcast, it's really exciting. I'm glad you're doing something like this.
Dude, it's so cool. It is so cool. So let's just share a little bit about who you are. What makes you you, man? Who are you? And how do you say your last name? Everybody wants to know how you say your last name.
My last name is pronounced Iltz.
How do you spell it?
E-I-L-T-S.
Ben Iltz. What does that originate from?
Germany.
I got you, man. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, a man of not many words. Unless I'm out running.
Yeah.
And then you can't shut me up.
Yeah.
So, you know me a little bit more from my talkative side because we run a lot together.
Yeah, we run a lot together, man.
Yeah.
And did you run today?
I ran today.
How many miles did you run?
5, but I stopped my watch and forgot to start it, so it said 4.5.
I gotcha. Yeah. So you only ran 4.5 because the watches don't lie.
That's right.
Whatever your watch says, that's what you ran.
Yeah.
Well, we ran 5 miles today at 5 a.m., man.
Awesome.
But that's what it's up. So, like, a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I'm a retail manager.
What is that?
I am the manager of a grocery store.
Cool. What grocery store?
Neighborhood Fresh.
That's what's up. Our local Neighborhood Fresh, which is the bomb, by the way.
23 years.
23 years. Wow. So you started there because you're not very old. How old are you now?
42.
42. So you started when you were pretty young.
Right out of high school.
Wow. How do you like it?
I love it.
You love it?
Yep.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Lots of name changes.
How many?
Well, nobody knows it is Neighborhood Fresh.
Yeah, it's still Lance's to me.
Lance's.
Or what else was there before Lance's?
My parents still call it Snyder's.
Snyder's.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
New Market.
That's a wonderful grocery store, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being really serious here. Like, you take really good care of the store. And plus, the people are super friendly, which is cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, but we need to, get the, what is it? The mahi-mahi back, but whatever. Where's the mahi-mahi, man?
There's a mahi-mahi shortage.
Is there like really a mahi-mahi? Yeah. Walmart don't have no problem keeping mahi-mahi in the freezer, brother.
Okay.
So, like, what about your family, man? Because that's a big part of who you are.
Yes. So I have a wife of 11 years tomorrow.
Are you kidding me? Tomorrow's your anniversary?
Tomorrow's my anniversary.
Wow. Did you remember that? Just maybe just now? Or
maybe just now.
What is your beloved wife's name?
Andrea Iltz.
Andrea Iltz. For 11 years you've been married. And tomorrow's 11 years. Yeah. Congratulations, dude. And I know you have amazing kiddos. What about them? Who are they?
Parker and Raylan.
Which Parker and Raylan, they have like the most energy ever. Like, I wish we could bottle that up and sell it or just give it to me because I love their energy. It's super high.
Yeah.
And they're like super proud of you.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, like, do you run with my dad? Do you know who my dad is? Do you know my dad's on YouTube? By the way, for the audience who don't know, Ben is an avid YouTuber. He is quite the influencer when it comes to running. But love your kids, man.
Have you been running?
Have you been running? And a little shout out to his own personal channel. Have you been running? And I think it's great because I'm trying to think how we met. I was thinking today, was it because of running we met?
It is.
I can't really remember the story.
Someone invited me to a track workout
Woo.
Because they knew that I had been a runner in the past.
Yeah.
So I had just picked running back up a couple months before.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite ready for doing some speed workouts on a track at 5 a.m.
That's what's up.
But there's no way I was going to pass that up.
Right. Who invited you?
Jared.
Was it?
It was Jared.
Shout out Jared Bobley. What's up, my guy? Yeah, Jared's part of the crew too. Really, it's called the Dad Bod Crew is what we're part of. And every Friday we try to hit the track at 5 a.m. for those dreadful workouts. Like they are so stinking tough. But that's how we met then.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I knew of you, but I didn't really know who you were. And like super excited that I finally get to like know the Ben. And like you're like such a cool dude. You're so quiet though, which is you're kind of like an extrovert, kind of introvert. Like you come out of your bubble when you run, which is cool, I think.
Yeah.
But Friday's track workout. But we've also had the privilege of doing some pretty crazy things together. You did your first 31-mile trail run. Was that? I want to think that was last summer, or was it this spring?
It was this spring.
Gosh, you did your first 31-mile trail run on a Thursday.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And you did it in like 6 hours. Talk a little bit about that real quick, man.
Yeah, so we was training for a race, Nullbone,
This was up.
down in Brown County, and we'd been running some trails together.
Yeah.
And you invited me out to run the Blood Root Trail a couple times, and this particular day was going for 2 laps. I didn't know how many laps I was actually going to do.
Which a lap is like, well, at least our Garmin say 11.2 miles, I think. Right. So we were going for 2 laps.
Yeah. And I made it the first lap, and I was like, I feel good. I'll go. I'll go another.
Yeah.
I'll go another. What's another 11 miles?
Yep.
And I did that, and I still felt good. So I kept going, and I got the full 30.
Yeah, 31. 31 miles to be exact. Do you recall how you felt after those 31 miles? Because I have a picture of you, and I'll try to put it in the podcast, a picture of you after you completed your 31 miles.
Refreshed.
You lie. You sit on a throne of lies. Ben, before we go any further, you know, one of the things that we do on this podcast, so we got to open up a little energy drink. This is also called the hot box. The air conditioner's off. The fans are off. Like I'm literally dripping in my shirt right now. People don't want to see it. You might be able to smell it, but you can't see it. So let's open up a little ghost, and we want to get under there. We want to bring that can up to the microphone, and we want to have the people experience this with us. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So good to have you on the podcast. Today's flavor is orange cream ghost, and it's pretty good. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's really good. You know, when you were a kid, they had those push pop. I think it was a push pop. It tastes just like that to me. And it's just, I love it. It's so good. It's so good.
I like it.
But we also have to give a real quick shout out to the man that's behind the cameras, behind the gear. Pastor Timmy, what is up, man? So glad that you're here too, dude. Like working behind it. Yeah. The people are going crazy in the studio today, but it's just so awesome to have, I call him Pastor Tim because for some of you who may not know, he is an ordained minister. That's right. So if you're looking for a local pastor to do that wedding of you or funeral, he can do that for you today. Call 1-800-PASTOR-TIMMY today. So it's so awesome, man. But we're going to dive into some of your story, man. But I just want to just share with you like how I'm so inspired by you. You run long runs every Sunday. Your training routine's pretty good. I mean, you're like, we're not 18 years old anymore. You know what I mean? Like right. You're a husband, right. You're a father. It's like training's a big part of your life. And, you know, and we're going to talk about some of your story of why that kind of lessened, you know, you weren't running as much because of a significant shift in your life, but then you picked it back up again. Like, we have all these amazing friendships because of running. So let's talk about a little bit about your training. What are you doing? What are you training for? I mean, you did mention that we just completed the Gnawbone race in Brown County, Indiana, which I'll let you tell it. You're stinking amazing. I mean, the guy's stinking one. Whatever. You share the story.
So I was doing the 10K. And it is advertised as the toughest 10K in the world.
Own it, bro. It is the world's toughest 10K. Yeah. Let's go.
It was pretty extreme terrain.
Yeah. So wish I could have been on that with you.
Yeah. And I wanted to document that. So I documented that. Mm-hmm. And you was doing the 50K. Mm-hmm. And your dad was doing the half marathon. Yep. So it was cool that we had 3 people down there representing North Manchester.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And it was my first trail race. Had no idea of what to expect other than it was the toughest.
This is the world's toughest.
The world's toughest 10K.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And like, how far is 10K for people who don't know? Like, I don't think I know.
6.2 something miles.
What was the toughest part of that race? Because like, you're no stranger to running.
Yeah.
Maybe a little different on the trail, but what was the toughest part of that?
The uphills. I was not prepared for the uphills.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd been doing some trail running around here.
Ain't no hills.
Not like that.
No.
And it was muddy.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was extreme terrain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Extreme.
It was too. I remember it was literally probably a mile into this 50K. Like you start hiking up hills right away. Like there was no like, oh, this is great. This is so much fun. Within a mile, your like heart rate's 174 beats per minute. Like you're climbing. I think the elevation for the 50K was it 6,000 feet or something like that. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Like you wouldn't think there'd be that big, like that much elevation gain in southern Indiana, but it was legit.
Yeah.
But you're a runner, dude.
Yeah.
You're an animal.
And seeing people like wipe out like right in front of you, and you're like wanting to stop. Hey, you need help, and they're like, no, go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
I left it all out there.
You did.
I had nothing left.
Well, why don't you tell the people what you're placed?
I was first in my age group.
Yeah, act like he don't know. Act like he don't know. You don't know. Yeah,
And I think it was 12th overall.
Yeah, dude, amazing. First place in your age group, and there was a lot of people in that race.
There was a ton of people.
A lot of people in that race. And for somebody who don't train the hills, like you just don't know unless you know. You know, I thought I knew, but you just don't know. When I went down to Southern Illinois last year, had no idea what 9,000 feet of elevation gain looked like. Like, how do you train for that in Northern Indiana? Right. You just, it's almost impossible. But what's your training routine look like right now?
So when it comes to running, I consider myself like a professional beginner. I've stopped and started so many times. And when you stop and you start again, you are a beginner. So I'm also a big fan of processes at work, with exercise, with everything. I love to find a process and follow the process. So with running, the first step is building up your mileage, and it doesn't have to be nothing crazy.
Yeah.
If you go out and you run, every day a mile, 5 or 6 days a week, and then you raise your mileage up a mile a week or 2 miles.
What do they say, like 10%?
Yeah,
10% a week or something like that?
Yeah, 10% is what they say you can say safely.
Whoever they is. Who's they?
Yeah,
I don't even know. But 10%.
So,
which I never follow, by the way.
Yeah. So my goal is to get back up to, 40, 50 miles a week, and I'm pretty close to that.
Wow, good for you, dude.
Yeah. So then after you get your base mileage in there, then you add in some stuff like speed workouts.
Oh, yeah. Speed workouts are for Friday only.
Yeah. 5 a.m. Come join us.
At the track. Absolutely. Yeah. Every Friday. Yeah, for sure. Even in the wintertime.
Yes.
Unless it's icy.
Yeah. So then you make one day your long run. So my long runs have went anywhere from, 10, 12 miles to
31.
31. But a typical one would be in between, 10 and 15 miles for me.
Yeah.
And then there's some other workouts that you can add in to them, threshold workouts, to where you're at a certain heart rate for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, which is so good too. It's all like really, really important. For me, I remember when I first started, because I'm not a runner, like naturally. I'm just a bigger dude. So running's, I don't really even enjoy it, honestly. You've told me when we run, you actually enjoy running. I don't psychologically understand anybody who enjoys running, but good for you, but for me, I'm always pushing myself as hard as I possibly can, which I learned is not efficient at all because your body doesn't recover, So then I learned to back it off. And what's the most running you've done in a week when training?
50, 60 miles.
50, 60 miles. Yeah. Which is, a lot of miles.
Yeah. And a lot of that is easy. Run slow to run fast.
Dude, people don't understand that. Our people in our circles, even right now, the dad bod crew, listen here for a second. Like, you have to be able to run slow in order to go fast. I know it seems like not right, but it is. Building up endurance, building up stamina. Like, you run those 11-minute paces and celebrate that. Those 12-minute paces, because you're not like what was it? Just the other day, Jared and Derek and I, we were running. Like, we're hitting some 6:10s. We were just flat out flying. Now, obviously, we couldn't hold that very long, like a minute, but the overall pace was like 8:16 for 5 miles or whatever. So it was really, really good pace. But there's no way in the world we could do that every single day. Our bodies just don't recover. So yeah, that's just so important.
And we're old.
And well, you are old. I am a young man sitting amongst two really old people today. Okay, they're laughing because they genuinely are older.
Yeah, but I want to be in the best shape of my life in my 40s.
Dude, that's my goal too. I turn 40 next year. I want to be in the best shape of my life.
Yeah, and running, it can seem very selfish, very selfish. But I'm also doing it for my family because I want to be around for them.
Oh. Preach that. We were actually just talking about that this morning, about taking care of ourselves. We don't necessarily take care of ourselves for ourselves, although we do, but we take care of ourselves because of the people that are around us, my wife and my kids. I'm truly excited about living a long life.
Absolutely.
And I think taking care of yourself is so essential. And as we're smashing these Ghost energy drinks, which I always say I don't necessarily drink those a lot. I drink a lot of water, and I won't even drink all this today. But you said you are a professional beginner. Can you kind of explain that a little bit deeper? Because people, I think, go around the same mountain that we all do when it comes to training.
Yeah. So professional beginner, when you stop and you're off for an extended period of time, you might gain some weight. I gained a lot.
But you've cut significantly.
Yes, yeah. Your tendons and your ligaments, they're just not as strong as they was.
Yeah.
And when you start up, you don't want injury. Injury, if you get injured, then you can't run. You can't do nothing. So you got to stay healthy to train. So, being a beginner, you have to know what your body can handle, and starting off at a lower.
Like for real low.
Yeah, low.
And I think one of the biggest things that I miss in training, because we train a lot. Like, but if it's not running, it's lifting weights. There's a lot of things we do, but mobility training and stretching. Because, bro, I've been talking with you forever. I've been dealing with like plantar fasciitis.
Yes.
And and I think it has a lot to do with, and I'm not a medical doctor, so don't take this, whatever. It's just working for me. Posterior chain stretching. Like, so it's all the backside, the gluteus, all the backside stuff. I can't even think of the name of it, but that's just stretching. That has been helping because it's all attached to that plantar fasciitis. The fascia. I don't even know the terms, dude. I just know I'm in pain every single morning.
Yeah. I have also struggled my whole life with issues with my feet. And it goes and it affects your knees and your hips and then your back.
Yeah.
I've been experimenting with some barefoot running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You should probably talk about that. This is the barefoot sprinter here.
Well, I've just started. So, once a week, I'm trying to run like a mile barefoot, go to the park, take my shoes off, run through the grass. It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good. And I can definitely tell like my feet are sore.
Yeah.
But it's not like a sore, like hurt sore. It's just like if you was lifting weights and your muscles were sore. That's what my feet feel like.
Sure. That's so cool. You said that you're sprinting with your feet. I tried that at the track one time. I never did it again because it hurts so bad. But you talked about your family, your wife, Andrea, who you're going to be married to tomorrow, 11 years. We celebrate that with you today. Maybe we could get a round of applause in the studio today for Ben and Andrea. Your family, we've just come to love them, and your kiddos. Let's talk about your marriage. Let's talk about your kids. Just talk about your kids for a second, because your kids are like a really cool. The first time I met them, I just couldn't believe how like awesome they were. They were just so I can't even explain how energetic they were.
Yeah. So My kids, I absolutely love them. They're
Probably should.
yeah, they're very, very special to me. And even up until last week, they'd never even had a sleepover. We've always had them. We've always had our eye on them.
Yeah.
My son was born 3 months premature. And he was in the hospital for 3 months. I made it to the hospital every single day to see him after work.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough, I did not miss any work. When he was born, I had a week's vacation, so I took the week's vacation, and my wife stayed at the hospital. And at the time, it was called Matt Anthony's Children. It was called the Hope House.
The Hope House. Where's that at?
At Jefferson, or what is it? Lutheran.
What is it? Lutheran? Oh,
Lutheran.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Pastor Tim.
Yeah, Lutheran Hospital. So he was in the NICU there.
Gotcha.
And my wife was able to stay there
Okay.
for 3 months. And like I said, I made it down there every single day to see my wife and my son. So that was a struggle.
Yeah.
And then, so he's 9 years old. My daughter is 6 years old. And when she was born, it was scheduled. Everything went fine. And we got her back to the room. And she basically quit breathing.
Wow.
So I lost it. Like, I lost it. I was crying out, and the nurse came and she was like, "Are you okay? You're like shaking." And
Yeah.
they're like, she's okay. She's okay. So I didn't know what happened when they came into the room and took her away from us.
Sure.
So I've had, a couple really traumatic experiences with my kids. One was 3 month long,
Yeah.
or even continued experience with my son, and then my daughter. That one experience was pretty tragic to me. So like I hold them close because I felt like I could lose both of them.
Sure. So
at different points.
So, talk about that a little bit. That changed the trajectory of your life. Seeing your kids go, that's a traumatic situation. When I think a few of us can identify with that. But how did that change you? I mean, how did that change you? The trajectory of your life.
Well, I never liked being in hospitals. Like, give me anxiety when I go to the doctor. Like, my blood pressure shoots through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, hate hospitals. And I never really been around like anybody that's been sick. Like,
Sure.
like really, really sick. So seeing my kids go through that, like it tore me up. Like, it tore me up. But I think, going through that, like, I got some strength out of it.
I mean, I assume, at least it did for me when Bub was going through all of his issues, just gives you such an appreciation for that little life. And I'll share a little bit just to relate with you. When Bub was born, he was born with a birthmark that grew in his nose. And some birthmarks are surface, but his actually grew, and it was this big growth on the inside of his nose. So as a 1-year-old, most kids, they breathe out of their nose. He had to teach himself how to breathe out of his mouth. But I remember when he would sleep with us, because we would put him in a car seat to sleep in our bed with us, because it was easier for him to breathe if he was in his car seat. And I remember every night laying my hand on his chest just to make sure he was still breathing. And I can remember waking up out of bed very, very frantically scared, and because I thought maybe he wasn't breathing. And I just think it's so traumatic. It was so traumatic to go through that experience. And even my wife, she would share the same thing. But it just gives you such a higher level of thankfulness, gratefulness, appreciation when your kids are healthy. And I've seen a lot of my friends go through things with their kids that it's changed. It changes you. Like, it truly changes you, whether it be for the good or the worse. Like, it changes you, you know?
Yep.
But Andrea, she has a story. I wish, you know what, I thought about, I would have had her sitting right beside you today. But really want to get at the perspective through what you seen, what you encountered, and share that story. Go as detailed as you can and as you feel comfortable doing about your wife and all of that. What that looked like for you.
Yes.
So start from the beginning.
Yeah. So my son was born. My daughter was born. Had some tragic experiences through that. And then after my daughter was born, Andrea was breastfeeding my daughter, and she had noticed a lump, which became a mass. And we was just thinking, it's a clogged milk duct or something like that. And had she not been breastfeeding, I don't think we would ever caught this. So she went in to get checked out, and they did a biopsy, and it took forever to get this back. It seemed like. So it came back that she had cancer, and I there was some confusion in the whole thing. Because it was they didn't find very much cancer, but the mass had gotten so big, the doctor suggested mastectomy and a double mastectomy at that. So she went ahead and she got the surgery, and they said you don't need any other treatment. No chemo, no radiation. So we was uneasy about that. We just didn't feel quite right about that. But she kept having complications with her reconstructive surgeries. So surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery.
So what you're saying is there were several surgeries? Like, how many were there? Do you know? Can you remember?
There's been 10 total.
Wow. Okay.
So after so many, they found cancer again. And their solution was more surgery and possible radiation, which was like, okay, they're going to do something now. So they did the surgery and went and, seen all the doctors, and they're like, no, we're pretty confident, this surgery got everything. We're good. And as soon as she took off the bandages, there was another spot that came up, and the cancer was back for a third time.
Wow.
And so after that, she had chemo, she had radiation, a couple more surgeries, and today it's been roughly a year cancer-free.
Praise God, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of emotion there. There's a lot of I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I can't say this enough. Like, we're getting older. We need to make sure that we're regular on getting things checked and doctors. And I think it's really important to just make sure we're doing our due diligence when it comes to our health. So women, men of our age, just make sure your routine checkups, right? I think it's important to do that. It's bad, and I don't like going to the doctor. I rarely ever go to the doctor. I've probably been to the doctor maybe 10 times in my whole entire life, like if that. So, but I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. The emotion, the frustration, the freaking anger. Like, I'm just thinking I would be frustrated, ticked, sad, like. What were all those emotions you were experiencing through all of this? Because you still have your kids to support and take care of it while your wife's going through this. Like, as a dad, as a husband, like, how do you handle this?
It was hard. It was the hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with. And then on the other hand, this community, the whole town, the support that we've seen, people we didn't know coming to our house, helping us financially, bringing food. People came to watch our kids. It was an overwhelming amount of support that we saw from this community, which helped. I mean, it was, like I said, the most difficult time of my life. I oftentimes, didn't know how we was going to make it through it. What things would look like.
Yeah.
And we made it through.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for sharing some of that stuff. That's amazing. And I'm thankful that Andrew's on the other side of this thing. But while you're in the middle of it, you're working and let me turn my phone off here real quick. In the middle of it, you're still working, still trying to provide for your family. You're concerned about your wife's health, deeply concerned, trying to take care of the kids, finances. You're not just worrying about your wife. Although she's the priority, you still have to manage everything else that life throws at you. How do you do it?
I honestly don't know how I did it. I mean, prayer, lots and lots of prayer.
Yeah. Because you a believing man.
I am. Looking back on it, there was many, many sleepless nights, and how I, made it to work the next day and still had a smile on my face. I don't know how I did it.
What do you do though with prayers that you feel like are not being answered? Because how long was the season? Do you remember? Can you recall?
Well, my daughter's 6 years old, so it was 6 years.
So 6 years, and I know you're a praying and believing man, and I'm not trying to minimize that whatsoever, but I just want to be super, super real with your story. You have to be frustrated, with the Lord. You're praying. How do you not get so frustrated with the Lord and you call it quits?
Well, I'm very patient.
You're too patient.
And I'm very persistent.
Yeah.
So I think that's helped me, being patient, persistent.
Patience is a virtue. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you are a very patient man. We've had conversations just about leadership and stuff like that and I'm hearing you share your heart. You are such a patient man. I'm like, man, there's probably some things I could learn from Ben is patience, because I'm not probably the most patient person in the world, but I'm not one of those guys either, Pastor Timmy, who pray for patience, because I'm not about that life. Right? I have 2 teenagers. I'm good, right? But patience is tough. And when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of your life and it's all just stinking terrible, let's just be honest. That was a terrible spot in your life, but you still had faith in the Lord. You still showed up. You did your job. You still loved your family. You were faithful. You were loyal. Because you could have ran. Why didn't you run, Ben? Why didn't you run away from your family?
You
a runner, right? Ben running.
I know when to run and I know when to stop.
When to stay.
When to stay.
That's a huge shock in this culture, is being loyal when it's freaking tough. Being faithful when it's tough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could have been super selfish. What about Ben's needs? I got needs too, but you're part of being a man is being selfless and saying, you know what, my family's priority way over me.
Absolutely.
That's what it's like to be a man, is saying, hey, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need that. It ain't about my emotions and my feelings. It's about my wife and it's about my kids. Bottom line. Drop the mic, Ben. That's what's up though. Yeah, that's real talk. Yeah. How many people want to run, right? I grew up without a father, right? I don't know who my dad is. So that seed is in me of wanting to run away from stuff and not look it in the eyeball and handle it, right? So we have a choice to make as men. Are we going to run when it's tough? Because it's going to get tough. I've been married almost 20 years now. It's going to get tough.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be, what's next year, right? I think, next year, 20 years. So, but it's going to get tough and it's going to get even tougher. So you got to get ready. You better be rooted in your faith. You better be rooted And because that way you don't run and you stay faithful and committed to your family. So I take my hat off to you, not literally, but I take it off to you because you stayed. You stayed, dude. And you could have left. Like, you showed up with your kids every day. You could have left. But that's what people need to celebrate. You're a normal dude with an extraordinary story because you stinking showed up every day. Like, that's powerful to me. And I think it should be celebrated. Come on, give me that applause there, Pastor Tip. Give it to me. Give it to me. There it is. Like, stuff like, I love it. Stuff like that's not stinking celebrated. I don't understand why. We're so focused on everything else that we don't celebrate the normal stuff. You staying home and being faithful to your wife, that's actually normal, and it should be celebrated. I mean, I'm just saying, I think it should be. I think it's so bad that we always, oh my gosh, I could go on and on. I won't bore you with all of it, but it's so frustrating to me when people like you and your family aren't celebrated. Like, it's a stinking big deal that you know how to be faithful. You know, it's going to be people like you that my son can model himself after, or my daughter can model herself after, because this is a family who knows how to be faithful when it's stinking tough. And I love that about you. That's your story, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could preach right there, but I'm not going to. But I just love it. Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah, and I have a daughter, and, I want her to, know like how well I treat my wife, and what I would do for her, and know that that's what she should expect.
Sure.
When she gets to that age of, being romantically involved with someone.
I know. I don't even want to think about our daughters are growing up. All of us dudes in here have daughters, and I don't know about you, but I don't like it. My daughter got out of the car the other day, and I'm like, it's a grown woman getting out of my car. I'm like, who do you think you are, boo? You sit back down, But it's of course it's exciting to see as a father too, but it's just like, and I have not got it right every time, Ben. Like, I have not been the best role model when it comes to a husband and a father. Like, I totally get that, but I'm getting it right. Because I'm showing up every day and I'm putting my best foot forward every single day, and I'm trying to take advantage of every opportunity I get with my kids. But it is so tough to see them grow up and that love stuff, as my daughter would do. That's what she does when she sees her mom like kiss. She's like, I'm like, but I think your story is so amazing. And I know you would say you haven't got it right every time.
Right.
Or maybe you have. I mean, you're pretty 100%, but you encourage me, man. Like, your story, you are a very quiet man. Like, you are. And I think that's cool about you.
Until we start running.
I'm like, Ben, shut up, okay? I can't talk right now. I'm a little busy, okay, pumpkin? But one more thing, or maybe a couple more things here. What's your dream, dude? Because we've talked about dreams. What's your dream, bro?
I have tons of dreams.
Give me a couple.
I'm a dreamer. Owning a business.
You got to elaborate.
We've talked about several of those.
Give us one of those ideas, because I think they're awesome.
Okay, how about the mobile running store?
Maybe we shouldn't say that on the air, because people will take the idea. It's copyrighted. 60713 copyright number.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Mobile run store. We can set up shop wherever we want, and you can come and you can try on running shoes and get the right fit.
Yeah. Dude, which would be amazing, because when you go to these trail runs, there's hundreds and hundreds of people. You could set up your own trailer. I mean, and it could be so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be great for people, because what happens when people start the race? All their family members are still there. They're just sitting around. So it'd be perfect to have this mobile run shop for people to buy shoes, gear, whatever.
Yeah. 3-inch running shorts.
3-inch, which I do believe you have, right? Don't you?
I bought 2-inch running shorts.
You keep them at home. Those are that's just, you wear those to bed, bro. Like, don't come on Black Friday to wear the 2-inch shorts. I think the shortest I have are 5 inchers. Yeah. I'm not quads out. I just ain't got that. I'm not there yet. You and Jared are there. I think he has a pair of 3 inchers too, but 2 inchers, I didn't even know they made such a thing. That's rather disgusting. I'm a little disturbed, Ben. So another dream. What's your dream race?
Dream race.
Yeah.
I have several dream races. First off, I want to get faster in the 5K. I want a PR.
PR for you would be what?
Well, my adult PR is 21:15. When I was in high school, it wasn't officially timed. I was on the track team as a sprinter my freshman year, and I ran with the cross country guys one day, and they said we ran, a 5K in around 18 minutes.
It's just flying.
Yeah.
Which
I think we could do it.
I think
eventually.
I think you could do it too. We just had a 5K here in town for the what was it called?
Junior Achievement.
Junior Achievement, and the winner of that, Enrique, I think is his name, a college student here in town, and he's a very gifted runner. Like, it's amazing, but he ran it. Drum roll, please. He ran it like at 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Under 15 minutes.
5K is 3.1 miles. He did it in 4. Did I hear you do that? Was that the drum roll? what that was. Anyways, there's some noises going on in the studio today, but under 15 minutes. So do the math. And I'm thinking, he was flying I was taking pictures that day when he ran by me, my shirt was waving in the wind. He was running by me so fast. But I mean, so a 5K.
Yeah, a marathon. I've never ran a marathon race, so I would love to run a marathon.
The Boston.
Well, you got to qualify. So that would be a dream race, qualifying for the Boston Marathon. And for my age, I'd have to run a marathon in about 3 hours. So I can't do that right now.
Man, that's just so crazy. That's so crazy.
So we're running some of these trail races. I guess, doing an ultra would be great.
What mile distance?
I don't have anything in mind.
Because right, a 37 miler is considered an ultra marathon.
Yeah. So 50K, 50 mile,
or
whatever.
27 miles. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do a 100 miler. I don't know.
That's still my goal, Ben.
Great.
That's still my goal. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it, but I did complete my first 50K. Kicked my butt. It took me 8 hours to complete it.
You did a great job.
My goal is still is to do a 100-miler. However, I know it's going to take I think probably more years of just building that foundational work. You know what I mean? Like I literally thought, Ben, this is so silly of me, that I could train a year and be ready to go for a 100-miler. Okay, first of all, Tyler, let's have that conversation, and that's for a different episode. But that's just not. It's not. It's not a good philosophy, not a good thought process to think that you can do that. Now, if you can, I mean, I'm not David Goggins, I'm not Nick Bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not built like that. I'm a little different. But Ben, it has been a privilege to have you on the podcast today. And this is episode 3. And so we're just going to continue to keep sharing people's story, because I believe it's people like you who are truly just normal people. But you have such extraordinary stories. And this podcast is all about normal people sharing extraordinary stories. And I think it's amazing that you shared what you shared. And my hope is this, right? There's going to be some people listening to this thing, and they're like, crap, I've been through there too, or I'm going through that now, and can get a little bit of encouragement and life, fresh air from sharing, people just hearing you share your story, your struggle. And you never know what could happen. So it's been awesome, man.
Thank you.
And I guess I'll see you on the track Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is tomorrow.
How many hours away is that?
Yeah.
Almost.
Like less than 12. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in to episode number 3 with my good friend Ben Iltz. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, share this thing. And remember, this platform is all about normal people like us sharing extraordinary stories. Thanks for watching.